After 5 long years, Isaiah Rashad dropped his third studio album, It's Been Awful, and all I gotta say is 2026, man, this has been a special year for music. This is yet another stacked album from the year, but we're gonna be diving into this album today. I'm gonna give my full review on it. Obviously, with Isaiah Rashad, a key name from TDE, his first project was Sylvia Demo in 2014, which was an EP, but this is one of the best rap albums from the 2010s. It has become one of my favorites. This shit is absolutely incredible, which then he would go and drop his debut album, The Sun's Tirade, in 2016. So a decade ago this year, which is another great album, a lot of great jazz rap production. It's got introspective, emotional songwriting. It is super smooth and laid back, which then he would go drop The House is Burning in 2021. And here we are 5 years later with his third album. So over a decade, he's only had 4 projects, which is insane to keep this level of relevance and consistency with, how little he does drop. But he has solidified himself as a great rapper, and he solidified himself as one of those deeply personal rappers that is always reflecting on emotional struggles and addiction, a lot of sensitive topics. And with that, his songwriting is just so incredible. The way he's able to just calmly reflect on life struggles that he's been dealing with in such a calm manner is just super comforting in a way. And that's what I have loved about his music for such a long time. And it is so laid back, so chill. It's Been Awful further continues that, which is a complaint that people do have with Isaiah Rashad's music. The fact that his delivery and his voice is super laid back and monotone. People think he's super sleepy, boring, no energy, but that is actually what I enjoy about his music. I think it is just super laid back, super chill and emotional. And It's Been Awful up to this point, one of his most emotional releases. I'd say it is a more emotional album than The House is Burning. It's kind of Isaiah Rashad going back to his earlier subjects on, addiction and broken relationships. A big reflection on where he has been the past few years. Obviously, the album title, It's Been Awful. It does feel like a way more emotional and introspective album than The House is Burning. I also think it's one of his most consistent and cohesive albums to date, which is another reason why I could see people not being a fan of this album, because if you're not a fan of this vibe, you're not going to be a fan of anything on the album. If you look at The House is Burning or even Sylvia Demo, really any of his other releases, you're getting different flavors. You might get a song that has a confident rapping, it's more confident raps from him, or you're getting a super emotional storytelling track. You're getting different styles from him. Maybe you get an R&B cut with SZA or something. Obviously, you've had that in every album, and you have that with It's Been Awful again. With his new album, every single song plays into the atmosphere of this record, plays into the vibe and the concept that he's going for. And that's one of my reasons on why I think this album is so great, because it is such a focused listen, and there's not many skips either. I think this whole album is quality music. There's maybe a track or two that is not my favorite, which I'll get into, but you're getting pulled into a world. You're getting pulled into his head throughout this entire album. Another thing with It's Been Awful, though, is I feel like this is the point where Zay is really accepting that life is not just going to be a smooth ride and be perfect. So with The House is Burning, I feel like there's a vibe on it. There's records on it where he's kind of looking back at the struggles that he dealt with in his childhood and just growing up, while he's kind of in a better headspace now. While It's Been Awful, it kind of flips, the page a bit. It has been rough again. He's been going through those struggles again. So it's where he's kind of accepting that it's not going to be a smooth ride all the time. And he's kind of learning resilience with that. And I feel like by the end of that album, that vibe really comes off of him strong. So that's a positive that really adds to this album. And I feel like it shows some development with Isaiah Rashad's music, because it's not like the same exact vibe of The House is Burning. Even though it's his same laid back vibe, obviously you're getting those jazz rap beats. You're getting different lyrical performances from him, different songwriting, different vibe on some tracks. But diving into the track list, looking at my top 3 favorite songs as of now, at number 3, it's probably going to be GTKY. The number 3 is such a toss-up, because I feel like the number 1 and 2 spot, which I'll get into, are the clear 2 best songs on this album. But the 3 spot, there is 6 songs that could be argued here, or all be placed at number 3 for a tie. But with this song, I just love the songwriting on this. I think it's one of the best written pieces on the album. Zay's delivery comes off very vulnerable on this track, which is what I love about it. It sounds like a quiet, emotional release in this album where he is reflecting on personal struggles, his relationship struggles. You have this laid back beat with his laid back delivery. So I really love the songwriting of this, the lyrical cut that he brings in here. One of my favorites, kind of just him processing everything in real time. But number 2 is going to be, it's a toss up between 2 songs, but I'm going to put Superficial for number 2. Amazing hook. I'd say it's the best hook on the album. It is just such a jam, high replay value for me. And again, it has great songwriting where it's this critique of shallow lifestyles, and Isaiah Rashad kind of wants to look for something more more meaningful. So you're getting an incredibly catchy hook, you're getting an amazing vibe and a great beat, and then Rashad kind of just looking at surface level habits that have held him back in life and kind of the distractions that have held him back from real growth. So all around, it's an amazing song. And then number 1 is going to be the outro 719 freestyle. It does feel like an outlier on this album, but when you look at his lyrical performance, it kind of is him circling back the entire album's theme, and you're just getting fiery raps from him, an amazing beat, a lot of energy. It's simply just an absolute banger. So those are my top 3 on the album, but there's so many other highlights that I can throw out. Act Normal is one that just has amazing songwriting. You have Isaiah Rashad looking back at his childhood struggles and the trauma that kind of shaped him, and just kind of, you know, looking at what does it mean to act normal when his life was kind of messed up from the get-go. Ain't Giving Up is another great one where you're getting this vibe of resilience from him. A lot of great songwriting. Scared to Look Down, that is a great one. Boy in Red with SZA. Isaiah Rashad and SZA have literally never missed. So I didn't think they were going to miss, but damn, this is a really good track. This entire album is consistent, full of highlights. The only track, though, that I would say is the weakest on the album is Cameras. And the reason for that is Dominic Fike being here, which he doesn't have a bad performance. He has good vocals, and he does deliver a good hook, but it just sounds so much more mainstream leaning, and I really do not, I'm not a fan of that. It really does sound like something you would hear on the radio, which there's nothing wrong with that, but for me, it's not my favorite. I don't really enjoy the hook, and the second it gives me that vibe, it's kind of a mid song for me. And then Same Shit, which is surprisingly one of the weaker tracks on the album for me. When this first dropped, I actually was not the biggest fan of the single, the similar flow on the entire song, but it has grown on me. I just really enjoy the beat here. It's a solid song, but compared to the rest of the album, it's just an album, again, with a really great consistency, so it's really not one of my favorites. So yeah, for the new Isaiah Rashad album, It's Been Awful, I have this as a strong 7 out of 10 right now to an 8 out of 10. It is definitely one of the best albums to drop this year. I have this right behind The Fall Off. If you want to see my top 3 rap albums right now, The Fall Off is definitely number 1. I have It's Been Awful at 2, and 3 is going to be Don't Be Dumb. Love Isaiah Rashad's performances on this album. The songwriting is great. The concept is great, very focused, great production. So overall, really great album, and I'm going to be enjoying the hell out of this all throughout May and even summer, honestly. Really enjoying this. Let me know how y'all feel about this new Isaiah Rashad album, though. I appreciate you all for watching this video and sticking till the end. Make sure you check out some more of the content, dive into the social media, and I hope y'all have a great day.